I'm not going to say what you did to me during that thumbnail, but I will say that right now, sitting is in the best position. You got to work the wrist a little harder. Just a little.
I'm told that a lot.
So...
Because you would know all about using the wrist, right?
As you all can tell, that we are Sans Gabe this review. Unfortunately, he had better things to do. I'm going to get you back to this one, buddy.
I wish I did.
But I wasn't alone in this endeavor. In fact, this was sort of kind of apropos, actually, to see this movie with you, considering that this is quote-unquote the female-centric movie of the year, or it has been marketed as. Now, I need to understand this from this point of view. 50 Shades Darker. Great movie or greatest movie?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10. Oscar.
Just thumbs up. It's like, I wish all my fingers were thumbs so I could give it 10 thumbs up.
It's the Citizen Kane of fucking.
No, not Last Tango in Paris. 50 Shades Darker, man. That's where it's at, bro. That's where it's at. Fuck me sideways with a pogo stick. This was a very, very bad movie.
Fuck this movie! I tried so hard to be able to make it through tonight sober.
You Christopher Walken that a little bit.
What'd you even say? I
tried to be sober.
I damn near had an aneurysm in the parking lot. Where do I even begin? Where can anyone begin?
You didn't get to see the first movie. I get to see it.
Would I have a reason to?
No, but me and Gabe and Gavin saw it, and I can tell you, if we're going to make a direct comparison, this is the better movie of the two, if by virtue of the fact that it's funnier.
And the fact that the sex was consensual for once?
Well,
for the most part.
Well, it's not like the sex in the first movie was non-consensual, or it's all right. This is far more. This is far more out of the spectrum in the gray area. So like the less gray. This was out of the gray area. So yeah, in that respect, it is better, but it's also more unintentionally hilarious, which makes for a better sit. I mean,
I will give you that. This would be a good drinking movie, actually. I really do feel. It's riffable for sure.
Oh yeah. But I felt so bad trying, while we were whispering to each other during the movie, because I know we were bad theater patrons, and I hated when people at the theater draw attention to themselves.
I know, but the people right behind us were giggling along with us, so we're not the only ones to do this for shits and giggles.
No, we certainly weren't. But there were enough people in that goddamn theater that were there for very, very sincere and very, very serious reasons.
There were audible and throughout the film, and I wanted to die. Or more actually, I wanted to kill them first and then die. In that order.
I have to think that there are certain types of movies that just kind of set people back. Like, pretty much every single Stallone film released today just kind of sets old people back.
Or Clint Eastwood, for that matter.
Or certainly Clint Eastwood movies, certainly. And this definitely set... probably, I don't want to say the S&M community back, but I will definitely say this definitely puts, the alternative lifestyle community.
It puts women back. It puts men back, too, for that matter. Yeah. There is not one likable character in this entire movie. Not one.
Yeah.
Everyone is loathable. Everyone. Even Anastasia is so manipulative in her own right. She's just a lot quieter about it.
Yeah, and it's a lot more emotionally traumatizing in a certain sense.
For who? The characters or us?
Well, the character certainly. First of all, they get back together because. And there's no real rhyme or reason to it. Christian just goes up to Anna and just says, "I want you back. Here, have dinner with me."
Yes, please. Because that's how that works.
Mm-hmm. I want to have dinner with you. They have dinner. They get back together. Done.
Conflict? What's that?
Mm-hmm. And then later in the movie, Anna's just like, "You gotta let me into your world. You gotta let me inside."
No, first she says, "I want to take things slow," and then she's, "Why can't you let me in?"
Which I think the movie established that this whole time has been taken over the course of maybe 2 weeks.
If that.
2 or 3 weeks.
Because I don't know about you, but does Seattle exist in a time warp when full moons occur every 2 weeks? Because I lived there for 8 years and I never saw that. I never saw a clear sky for 2 weeks in a row. Let alone a goddamn full moon. Oh, that actually pissed me off because anyone who's actually from Seattle, everybody had umbrellas. There was one scene where it was raining and everybody in the background had umbrellas. And I was like, bitch, please. Yeah, in a movie where you have, like, early 20s billionaires and complete milquetoast, mousy, plain-looking women who get everything handed to them, that's where I draw the line, apparently. Umbrellas in Seattle. Nope. Done.
You have drawn the line in the sand, woman. And
with an umbrella.
But where Ana is terrible is where she just literally demands Christian say, like, tell me all about your traumatic past or I'll leave you.
She's extremely passive-aggressive. Mm-hmm. Extremely.
You gotta let me inside. You gotta relive all your childhood trauma. Tell me about how you're a crack baby. You didn't see this because you tried to get as much of the movie, not have to watch as much of the movie as I got to. I saw every frame. But the beginning of the movie is Christian has a nightmare, and he's dreaming about his. I love it.
Is this the first film?
Yeah, no. This is like the beginning of this film.
I don't remember one. Oh right, I went to get water.
You excuse yourself to get water, and the opening of the movie is Christian having a nightmare about his childhood, where he's running not from his mom, which you would think would happen because.
Is it from Anastasia?
No, not from Anastasia. It's from some guy. Just some guy. I don't know if it was supposed to be his crack-addicted mom's boyfriend or father. I don't know. But he's coming after him, and he's coming after him looking under the tablecloth. It's like, there you are. And the funniest thing in the movie, it took every bit of me not to go like, especially during a scene of child abuse, is that little...
That's a hallmark of greatness in a movie when you want to laugh at child abuse.
Yeah, I don't want to laugh at child abuse, but the little kid who's hiding from little baby Christian hiding from the big old scary drunk dad has a little domino mask on. He has a little homemade domino mask on. It's... Get it?
Was that supposed to tie into the masquerade scene somehow? That makes zero sense.
Like, I think in the childhood context that maybe he was trying to play Ninja Turtles. I don't know.
It must have been in the book. It had to have been.
Yeah, because that is such a weird detail to have plainly in your nightmare. I mean, like, I get it, dream logic and everything, but...
Although, no, I'm sorry, but it should have been Anastasia he was running from, because that would have just been too hilarious. That would have been so funny. And oddly apropos, given the struggle between his heart and his desires. Why is this popular?
Because a lot of women, I was about to say every woman, and that would have been unfair, but
enough to make this shit sequel worthy, apparently.
Yeah, like enough women have that fantasy of having that dark, mysterious stranger who can be able to do anything he wants because he either has a great station in life, or has a lot of political power, or not any of that, or has great physical attributes that makes him above the normal man.
To be honest, I don't want to say that's a woman thing, although it is, but I mean, show me anybody, male or female, who wouldn't want to just have a sugar mama or daddy who was drop-dead gorgeous, rich as fuck, charismatic, willing to take care of every little need you have in return for just sex and companionship. Who wouldn't do that?
I don't think it's an idea that men wouldn't do that. It's just it's not their fantasy.
It's not?
Not typically. Not the typical male fantasy.
Fuck, if I were to do it, it'd be mine. I'd be set.
It would be a great idea, but that's not like...
Yeah, house husband with a house full of ducks.
I mean, like, it's
man. Now give me this.
No. Yeah, she's in her little...
duckies in a penthouse.
She's in her mode right now. She's in her mode.
Oh my god, it's so fluffy. Okay.
Are you better? Are you better now?
I feel better. I feel a lot less rage now. I went to my ducky place.
Shucky ducky quack quack.
Is that from something?
That is Booker T's catchphrase.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Where the fuck have I been the last 10 years?
In a much better place, I assure you. Do not let
I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that, because I don't need to read 50 Shades of Goddamn Grey to get myself off. I should not have said that on camera.
Do you want me to censor that? Or
No, it's okay. It's just... You see what this movie does to me? To us. We are damaged people.
More so than usual. But
that's saying something.
I was about to go into this plot, but there really isn't one. But which again doesn't come as a surprise when you remember that these are basically Twilight fanfics that E.L. James just did a find replace every Edward. He changed it to
changed Forks to Seattle.
Changed Edward to Christian and turned Bella into Anastasia. That's pretty much it. That's all the entirety of that.
What I find strange about that, though, is that even for a supposed S&M fantasy, there's really not much there. It seems pretty tame. And although I have not read the books, I imagine that the only reason the movie seemed as terribly written was because the books are terribly written. Terribly written.
By all accounts, they are.
But the one thing that I do know from the first movie is that the thing that horrified her was just basically some light taps on the rear. It wasn't even that intense. It was just... And I think, again, it was a long movie. It didn't feel long because it just kept going to set piece after set piece after set piece. But she was having her ass smacked hard within it felt like 10 minutes of screen time after taking the guy back. Yep. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, come on. And there's a moment in the movie where she actually takes him grocery shopping and hands him a carton of vanilla ice cream. And I'm just like...
Get it.
It's right there.
Yeah, get it.
And only to have just be okay with getting her ass smacked and tied up and blindfolded and all sorts of things.
You ever...
I just...
For something to be an S&M fantasy, the things that really bother me about the sex scenes, which there are an abusive amount of, I've never... I was about to call her Dakota Fanning, but I know that's not Dakota Fanning, but it's Dakota something rather.
I would hope not.
It's Dakota something rather. I don't remember the actress's name. Mea culpa.
There are multiple Dakotas?
Yeah, I forgot, something Dakota or Dakota... Point being...
I know the middle names are North and South.
But the point being that I saw so much of her body that at a certain point is,
It's a nice body, mind you.
Yeah, it's a nice body, and, you see her...
Little...
Yeah, you
little
see...
thing for my tastes.
Yeah, you see a lot of her, and then at a certain point it just becomes what's new about this?
I never thought I would be bored by watching that much sex.
Yep.
It's just so tiring. It's so tiring, and it's just the same thing. He never takes his pants off.
Except for the end. During the Red Sea.
And I wonder if that's his contract, only one ass shot per film, or if that's how the only way they could get it to not be NC-17 with that many sex scenes. I really do wonder if the MPA, they've got some bizarre rules about things, mind you, but I couldn't help but wonder, because it was to the point we were chuckling to each other. We're like, he's still got his pants on. There were people behind us going, still got his pants on. Well, he's got the belt. Does he have the belt? Yeah, he's got the belt on. How does that work? That doesn't work.
That doesn't work. I don't think they know where his wiener is.
He clearly does.
I
don't think she does, though.
They have shower sex, and he's still got his pants on. In the shower while it's running. I can't imagine being in so much passionate love with somebody that I forget I'm wearing clothes and I need to mac on them while they're in the shower.
That's not the best part. You need to prepare a shower. You need to turn the knobs, wait for the water to get warm, position yourselves. This was not a spur-of-the-moment thing.
No, it's sort of like that moment in Desperado when Antonio Banderas and Selma Hayek are having sex, and it's supposed to be this spontaneous moment, but all of a sudden they're surrounded with 20 dozen candles surrounding them. It's they had to set that up.
Can you imagine, you're on the side, okay, okay, I'm getting myself warmed up, just hurry. Just fucking light them.
Let them. I can only get hard when there is 50 candles lit. That's what Vietnam did to me.
50 flames of candle. No candle wax in this movie.
No,
I'm surprised. For S&M, that's about as
There's hot oil, but there's not. Oh, I assume it's hot oil.
I have no idea, but I figured that was kind of. This was as stereotypical as you get, and I'm surprised there was no candle wax because it doesn't get much more stereotypical.
No, like remember the lamest sex scene of all of them was when they were doing that spreader bar.
Yeah.
On the leg, they attach. He attaches some ankle straps to her legs, and
a flourish of just.
And then just flirts, and then
the
just
music cuts out.
Yeah, and the spreader bar is like, oh god, that's so daring. No, it's not. It's really clunky. Your
legs coming apart.
Yeah, it's.
Why are you gasping?
It's really clunky. It's really not that hot. And what actually really kills me about these sex scenes is that the kink part of the sex always seems to be taken out of the equation before the scene ends. He handcuffs her for a while, spanks her, then uncuffs her, and then fucks her.
Yeah, I was thinking like the part where she goes like do whatever, and he blindfolds her and puts her in the cuffs and ties her up, and then he just undoes it, and I'm like, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose?
Yeah, I mean, true, you can't really film.
She seemed okay with it, so why not?
I guess you can't really film a fuck scene without fucking, and you can't really fuck somebody if they're just have their arms behind the back and they just kind of create a little awkward stance from it. I don't know what you would call this position, but I would imagine it's nothing flattering.
The convict?
The Abu Ghraib? No, in order for that to happen, you need to have a cigarette dangling out of your mouth and pose like this.
The shit that I put up with from this guy.
We just sat through 50 Shades Darker. I'm allowed to be a little blue. Come on.
I'll give you that. But that was pretty dark. Fuck this movie.
Well, this movie is called 50 Shades Darker. And
I'm dark like a black guy because I want to give everyone that fucking movie a black eye. Just everyone is severely punchable. It was hilarious to me because at several points in the movie, like 3 or 4 times in a row, Anastasia's in mortal danger. And it just gets funnier and funnier, and my god, that is fucked up. But it's true. Like the 3rd or 4th time where just, it's going to happen, where she's like, Christian, stay here, I can handle this. And then she can't handle it. And then he runs in and saves her at the last minute. After the 4th time, I was just like, take a shot.
There are several characters that are supposed to be our antagonists. Yeah, this movie has antagonists, believe it or not.
But it's so heavy-handed.
Not only are they heavy-handed, they really don't factor into the story at all. Like, they're almost villain of the scenes. Mm-hmm. Not villain of the day, not villain of the movie, just villain of the scene.
Yeah.
Like a crazy ex-stalker who was super submissive to Christian and needed to have his love but couldn't get it. So now she hates Anastasia, is willing to shoot her for it. And then fucking...
The way they handled that scene, though.
He just comes in, and then he just... Like, you remember that scene in Crocodile Dundee where Paul Hogan just kind of, like, hypnotizes the snake to stop her from attacking the woman? That's what he does. He just kind of goes in like...
Just... Kneel. Strokes her hair.
Yes.
I'm just like...
From a purely dumb perspective...
Master sleeps in your bed.
Master sleeps in your bed. Dobby wants
Master,
a sock. From a purely...
Well, a certain kind of sock. I hope they practice safe sex.
Oh God.
They didn't, actually. Wow. That is really irresponsible. Now that I think about it, no.
Yeah.
There was never a condom used at all. Yeah. Oh, wait. Didn't he, like, put her on birth control in the first film, though? Didn't he insist that she go on birth control?
I don't remember that. It might have been part of the contract signing. I don't know.
Commenters, go. Tell us. Because you would know better than we would, clearly.
Well, either way, like, the whole movie is predicated upon getting back together without any rules or contracts. So I guess it would have been up to her. So I guess it kind of goes without saying that she was on the pill.
But was it, though? Because, frankly, for someone that can apparently handle herself and can run a fucking publishing company, she is the single most passive, milquetoast, just wilting flower little snowflake I have ever seen on cinema. And there's a scene where she's basically handed an editor position, like high executive role at her publisher, and she just nails it because, of course, even though she's meek as a little mouse in the important big meeting and everyone's all like, that's a good idea. I'm glad you took over this position. And I'm just sitting there like,
You're mayor of Booktown now.
all aboard the literacy train.
Choo-choo. But actually, what is simultaneously horrifying and hilarious at the exact same time is her former boss. That guy was so heavy-handed, forced in this movie.
Well, I mean, this movie doesn't do subtle. I think that's pretty clear.
No, it doesn't do subtle, but I got to imagine that the movie that you're trying to market to the female demographic as this, spicy little, date night movie with you and your girlfriend or your poor boyfriend or husband that you're
spicy. I feel bad for you.
Well, this is Hollywood homogenized spicy, all right? If you're interested, would you rather dabble your toes in the ideas of it or just be thrown buck naked in the deep end?
Well, you're gonna know the answer to that.
Well, I know your answer, but I would imagine that the people who are interested would rather be...
That's what worries me. I worry that the average person, or at least Hollywood thinks the average person, would go to this movie and then consider themselves edgy. And that in itself kind of pisses me off. I mean, you can't go into a movie like this and expect them to have any respect for your intelligence whatsoever. But even then, it pushes it. It really pushes it. Every time you see someone appear on camera, you're like, well, I wonder if that person's going to threaten Anastasia. Oh, yep, they are. And then just taken out of the movie.
Yep.
Never to be seen or heard from again.
Yeah. The last thing I think you'd want your female audience to experience is a rape boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he...
Well, a lot of us have. But not like that. It's not like hands on the door like, I can fuck you like Christian never can. It's just... Sexual harassment doesn't work like that. Is that clear? Who the fuck thinks... A woman wrote this. Is this what she really thinks happens? In offices? In Seattle? Because I've been there. I've worked in a lot of game companies and a lot of just tech companies in general, very male-dominated fields, and I've never had that shit. Apparently the literary world in the Pacific Northwest is just rife with sex. Who knew?
Actually, it started off hilarious because he was so obviously supposed to be the Jacob to Christian's Edward. Yeah. But here, like, I think E.L. James was out on Team Edward from the very fucking start because she must have wrote... Because she wrote this guy to be a fucking asshole, just like, you like it rough? And just like, just does the whole cool guy thing where he puts what me and Mark like to call Picard's other maneuver. Where, like in that episode where they're all getting...
He never really seemed to pull off, the poor man.
No. Remember that episode of Next Gen where everyone's getting all hot and heavy and Picard leads into Dr. Crusher?
Yes.
He does that, so this guy does that to Anna, and she's like, oh, come on, I know you want it rough. I can fuck you like no one else can. And so she just nails him in the junk and runs out. And then runs right into Christian's arms, and Christian, is like, I'm going to kill that guy. And he's like, no, don't go in there, don't go in there. Then he sends his manservant up there to do who knows what. Cut to him on the phone.
Never see what happens.
Cut to him on the phone going like, yeah, and he's let go. All right, perfect. Thank you. And then he just has the dude fired.
Because who needs segues?
He has the dude fired because apparently he knows his CEO.
Apparently.
At that point, why stop there? I just wanted him to be on that phone just like...
He sexually assaulted her. He should be in fucking jail.
Obviously. He's like, and you have had his testicles surgically removed? Great. And you are currently in the process of feeding them to him. Good. And you made sure that his mother was eaten by wolves? Yes, of course. A mother who brought such a monster into this world needs to be punished. Yeah, of course.
Of course.
And all direct family lines have been eradicated? Good. Capital.
It's just the fact that, again, no respect for the audience's intelligence. Even by the standards of 50 Shades of Grey. Like... Clearly the boss knew Christian, he knows his power, wealth, and influence, and still thought it was okay to try and rape his girlfriend. No one is that stupid.
It's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna fuck the most richest man in Washington's wife. And next, I'm gonna go punch out God. I mean, that's the clear line of succession in that thought process. And the end of the movie is him just like...
Yes!
The end of the movie is the most hilarious part where, like, his life is ruined, and considering all the evidence in front of us, rightfully so, he just, the fucker deserved everything he got. And, and it cuts to him overlooking the birthday party of Edward. They recently, Christian and Anastasia announced their wedding. They're all, like, yay, they're gonna get married, and fireworks are going off, and here is this fucker looking over his estate, looking like he just came off a fucking bender where he drank his entire body weight in whiskey.
I'm surprised there wasn't, like a cymbal crash of thunder behind him.
Or, like, some kind of Doctor Doom thunder, or, he gets, like, those metal gauntlets.
He should have had goggles on.
Or, like, he turned him into a goddamn supervillain. Why not? And then he takes a little photo that apparently he took while he was in disguise at the ball somewhere in the...
I forgot about that scene, yeah.
Yeah, like, he took a little... Random. Yeah, apparently this guy, earlier in the movie, decided to go undercover at his parents' house's ball in Masquerade and just takes a photo on his little cell phone of the family picture, just so that he could burn Christian's face later for the movie. Is that all he was going to do? In that movie?
This was before he put the moves on Anastasia, and she wasn't in the photo, so it wasn't over some creepy on her thing. It wasn't to creep on her. It was just to get a picture of his family. Why? Just to burn the hole in it at the end?
Yeah.
Well, that's logic. That's great screenwriting.
That is. And then, like, I can picture the guy who wrote the screenplay, like, and then he burns the picture, which he took back at the ballroom. Check, please.
See, callback. Chekhov's gun. That's how you write a screenplay.
Set up, knock him down. I'm on a roll.
Straight to the bank. And that's what pisses me off the most is knowing this movie is going to make money.
Oh yeah,
it's going to make money hand over fist.
Yeah, the theater was fucking packed. Like in the biggest theater in the entire stadium. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
But the thing that really irked me, of a lot of, actually, I wouldn't say the thing that irked me the most, because there were a lot of things that irked me about this fucking movie. But one of the main things was that this whole, like, during the middle of the movie, when they realized there really isn't a plot, they had to have some kind of dramatic tension. So they decided to have this notion of, like, will you move in with me? And, alright, so there's going to be, like, this... Can I think about it? So now the rest of the movie's like, hang on, will she say yes? Will she move in with him?
I wonder what she's gonna say.
And so she's making him wait for the answer. Meanwhile, comes up from Portland. The plane, the helicopter. The helicopter that he's in crashes, comes out of fucking nowhere. It's been about like an hour and a half in this movie.
I don't know. They set up the scene about 30 seconds before it happens.
Yeah, it's like they crash. They find out about the crash, and then her and his entire family are just weeping, like, what's happened? What happened? Not 4 minutes goes by, he comes back in and is like, I'm fine!
I thought there was going to be, like, the typical sitcom freeze frame and just, clap track. Because it was that hammy of just the first thing they say on the TV, they're saying, wait, we just heard news, we found Christian alive. And walks in the door. Didn't need to go to the hospital, apparently.
Not a scratch on him.
There was some, like, dry blood in his cheek.
No, that was just mud.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
again, did he...
No, there's no...
One of the most influential... I'm sorry, but just one of the most powerful, rich, influential people in the world, they just found from a helicopter crash, they didn't think he was important enough to see maybe at least one doctor?
Yeah, but what really kills me about this is, like, not 4 minutes of screen time goes by between the helicopter crash and them revealing, he's alright. He's alright, he's just a little dirty.
And even better is that his own family, who thought him dead, just left the apartment right afterwards.
It's like, no, we gotta move out. Like, Christian needs to fuck his wife.
Well, girlfriend.
Yeah, girlfriend at that point in the movie.
That point,
but what really kills me about that entire scene was that he opens his gift and it's a little tag that says yes on it. It's like, are you going to move in with me? It's like, yay! And then the whole audience was like, oh, they're going to move in together.
Why are you surprised by this?
But the cherry on top of all of this is that 15 minutes later they decide to get married. It's like, isn't that the climax? Not the whole let's move in together. That's how poorly structured is this plot that you kind of blow your wad on the end result of this relationship on moving in.
Or the helicopter crash.
Yeah.
I mean, just...
wouldn't the whole marriage proposal be more important for as far as the narrative mechanic is concerned, and whether or not she will say yes, not will you move in with us?
Well, because
with me rather.
The joke is that she bought a keychain with it on it, and then gave the gift to him before he went on the Portland trip. So I know I would have had the slightest shred of respect for this movie if that had been the catalyst. If she thought he was going to die, and then he came back, and she was going to say no, but then said that made me realize that I need you in my life. No, she was already going to say yes. And was just teasing him the entire time.
It's called delayed gratification.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck this movie.
Can we have a moratorium for Kim Basinger's career for showing up in this movie?
I'm surprised they got Kim Basinger, honestly. To play an abusive, psychotic pedophile? I wouldn't take that role.
Not necessarily. And apparently, not only was she the quote-unquote mentor, read rapist of Christians, but she's also her mom, his mom's friend. So she winds up at the birthday party and just says, and here's the whole marriage proposal, and she just goes up to Anastasia and just like, he'll never love you. You can't give him what he wants. And then soap opera style, she splashes her drink in her face, and then Christian just goes up and just, like, wipes her face. It's like all you did was ever teach me how to fuck. And then his mom overhears that. Marcia Gay Harden overhears that, and she goes up to Kim and just like, get out of my house! And slaps her in the face. I would listen. If you found out that your friend raped your son, I think you would have a stronger reaction than just, I'll kill you, bitch!
Even in that context, though, she doesn't know about... I mean, he's a grown man at this point. For all she knows, they just had a casual sexual relationship. Yeah, it'd still be fucked up. But she didn't... At that point, I don't think she knew about any of the rape or the coercion or any of the abuse. I don't think she knew about any of that stuff. She just heard her son say, hey,
you taught me how to fuck.
My mom knows, I have fucked you. Like, and the mom was like, get the fuck away from my kids, which is, again, very, very understandable reaction, but she didn't know about any of the other stuff.
Oh, God, if she did, though, I would have seen anything for Marcia Gay Harden to go Super Saiyan. And
just throw a chair over her head, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, go Mama Bear on her. Like, you raped my kid! Elbow drop from the top row!
I would pay to see that.
Yes, I would too.
I would pay so much money to see that. Hollywood, make this happen.
Marcia Gay Harden versus Kim Basinger, the celebrity death match we never got.
Make it happen.
Long way to go to make a celebrity death match joke, but here's a guy who did it. Oh, fuck. So we covered the creepy stalker, we covered the goddamn the rape boss, and then we covered Kim Basinger.
The other rape boss, because she is a business partner.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of rape bosses. Oh, and then there was, I guess the Jacob of the film, Jose, was that it?
No, the Jacob was, the Jacob of the movie was the rape boss.
No, he was, from the first film.
Oh, from the first movie. Jose for the first film, yeah, I like you, and then, and Anna doesn't think of them.
Yeah, he's still in this movie. Why? The only scenes he's in is just him looking sad, with Anastasia together. And the point, he was there at the apartment. I don't know why he was at the apartment. He's not related to any of these people, but he was there when Christian Grey walks back in the door, and the look on his face, you just knew he was thinking, God damn it, he survived. My one chance.
One chance. I think he was a childhood friend of hers, I think.
Yeah, but he clearly had the hots for her, and he was really friend zone. But it's just like they didn't do anything with that either. No,
they were too busy. They were too busy filming scenes of them going on a yacht on the coast of Washington.
And they're freaking out. I'm driving a boat. I'm like, is your life really this boring? With all this going on around you. No, this is what makes you excited. Steering a boat. Okay.
I mean, like,
Okay.
from a movie making perspective, you need to have those grand romantic gestures to really sweep, have that emotional feel. Like the first movie, they were in a glider. They were in a glider and they were flying around, and yeah,
oh boy.
yeah. And here now they're on a yacht and they're
I'm on a boat.
yeah on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
Like one of my favorite romantic movies of all time is A Map of the Human Heart. And
I have not seen that one. Mine's The Only Two Lovers Left Alive.
Well, there's a scene in A Map of the Human Heart, directed by the same guy who did What Dreams May Come.
Really?
Yeah, and oddly enough, also starring the guy who played Mowgli in the live-action Jungle Book.
What?
Yeah, there was a live-action Jungle Book.
This is a recent film then.
No. Like back in the mid-90s, there was a live-action Jungle Book.
Was Mowgli even born then?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the recent Jungle Book movie?
No, not the recent Jungle Book movie.
Oh.
There was a live-action Jungle Book movie
Oh,
back in
right, the one that's actually based on the book.
Yeah. Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I remember him. I remember him.
Stars him. And there's a scene where it's set in the 1940s and during World War II, and there's a scene where him and his lover have, they have sex on a gigantic air balloon. Like they're...
How does that work?
Well, while the balloon was inflated, they were on top. And while the balloon was inflated.
That just raises further questions.
Yeah. It's when you really logicize the situation.
How?
Yeah, like I know, right? When you logicize it to the point of like, well, that's just unsafe. It's like, yes, it's unsafe, but it's the idea of literally being on top of everything, and it's the idea.
I get it.
Yeah. Idea, walking on air and such like that. But it's a grand gesture where the act is more important than the logic behind the act.
I get that.
And there's no real like, no one's really hurt by it. There's nothing saying like that's actually like that really is emotionally manipulative for somebody to do that. There's no baggage like that at all. It's just them fucking on top of a hot air balloon with swirling music in the background. It's a great scene. Purely from a movie making perspective.
I'll have to see it because I'm sure it's aesthetically breathtaking.
Oh, it
is.
Just
logistically, I just have so many questions.
Mm-hmm.
So many questions.
Yeah. By the way, go see Map of the Human Heart.
and go see The Only Two Lovers Left Alive.
Mm-hmm.
Tilda Swinton, amazing role. Just go see it.
Mm-hmm.
Go see it.
Oh.
Anything other than this movie.
Yes, anything.
Go watch Sallow is a more romantic movie than this.
Sallow, or the 120 Days of Sodom?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they got is that the movie with the shit eating?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the manja! Even that film is more romantic than 50 Shades Darker.
God.
Because it's just so much manipulation and passive aggression and control, like... It's even in this movie when Christian is supposed to be like reformed and learning his lesson, it's still so many damn red flags.
Oh, speaking of red, so many. The most hilarious scene in the movie, we completely forgot about it, where he's setting up his boundaries by drawing a lipstick.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
He literally draws on his body a box around his titties and says, "This is off limits." But then it almost became a running gag with us. It was still there. And I don't know how much time has supposed to have passed. At least a day.
Several scenes later, there's the lipstick box on his pecs.
Still, untouched.
Yeah.
Even, this is after, I think, 2 sex scenes at this point?
Yeah, because there was the sex scene at his parents' house.
Yeah.
Inside his old room, which, by the way, has UFC posters and a Chronicles of Riddick poster.
That's what stood out to me the most. It was just like, the fuck is that doing there? What's with this tie-in?
It's like
Riddick deserves better.
He does. He really does. Especially.
He really does.
You didn't get to see Triple X, but that was.
I didn't. I want to though. Now that I know Ruby Rose is in it.
Yeah.
My new waifu.
It's a fun little action flick. I think you'll love it a lot.
I love brainless action movies.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
You'll love it. You'll love it.
I will go see it.
But. All right, so there was that sex scene, and I think there might have been one other, but I know that one for sure.
Yeah, at least one, but then it came back again. In a shower scene. a shower sex scene.
Mm-hmm.
When it was still there. Still there. And I'm just like, he was wearing a white dress shirt to a very high-class function, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
And of course, the heavy symbolism of washing it off.
It's like, we absolve you of your sins. It was never your fault.
The boundaries are being erased. Way to go, E.G. You truly are a master of subtlety. Real eye for symbolism.
You know, that novel, like so many trash novels,
Can
are
you really
written...
call it a novel?
By the technical definition. That novel was written in the first-person progressive perspective.
I call it Pulp Fiction at best.
Mm-hmm. But I'd imagine that particular scene would have been written like, and so I washed off the lipstick on his immaculate muscular chest, which to me symbolized me washing away the boundaries between us. And then she forgets who she is for a little moment, so she starts writing. Wow, I am really smart. I should put this in the book. Oh shit, it's in the book. And then she eats her own head.
I wish. Well, her head's somewhere else. Too far for that. There is a point in the book where the meeting where Anastasia becomes like her. It's her moment where she becomes, the boss. Where she's the reason they take her seriously is because she mentions an online author who has a large online presence, and they should look into publishing him. Wink, wink. Because they should be drawing in the young adults.
The 18
crowd.
to 24. The 18 to 24 demo. Mm-hmm.
Really? E.G.? Is it E.G. or E.J.?
E.L. James. It's E.L. James.
So it's not important. She's not important. No, fuck her. Anyone, really, you couldn't help yourself. You just had to put in, change the gender. Oh yeah, no one's really gonna figure that out. Fuck you! And fuck this movie!
I think that was the 7th fuck this movie in as many minutes.
My entire time in the theater was just...
Yeah, I had to do one of these for her to grab onto my hand in case like she was giving birth,
It was painful. And just, if you're like me, I'm pretty misophonic where certain sounds drive me crazy. I have never understood the appeal of seeing people make out. I'm not alone in this, because I know there are plenty of people who just think that watching two people mac on each other is a little bit gross. It's like watching a guy eat a hamburger messily. I would love to be eating that hamburger, but seeing someone else do it with those sounds and the noises and the... Nobody wants to see that. So I don't understand when I see these people with their tongues down each other's throats. It's just like...
When you really abstract it, every single makeout scene is just ripping that scene in Silence of the Lambs where Hannibal Lecter eats that guy's tongue.
It's a fair recreation. But a lot less sexy.
I don't know. More sexy if you ask me. Anthony Hopkins knows how to work it.
No, I was talking about 50 Shades.
Oh, okay.
Anthony Hopkins, oof.
It's like, oof.
I don't care how old he is.
You can eat me out any day.
Can have my brains with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
It was his liver.
Oh, yeah.
It was her.
No, he ate the brains of the other guy.
No, he didn't eat those brains. He
fed them to Clarice.
He didn't feed them. He fed them to the guy. He fed his own brains.
In the book, it was to Clarice.
Mm.
I did read that book. That was a book worth reading. And then he fed it to Clarice.
And then in the movie, he fed that guy's brains to some random kid on an airplane.
Yes.
That is.
Yes, he did.
You like those brains? You like those brains, kid?
I laughed out loud, and I died a little that day. But we're not here to talk about that movie.
No. When we walked out of the theater was that you said you didn't hate this movie. But then, the waves of hate keep coming back. It's like you didn't...
I don't. Despite all that we've said, I don't hate this movie. I laughed too much to hate this movie. I hate what created this movie. I hate that this movie had to be made. I hate that Hollywood knew they could make money if they made it. I hate that so much. And I hate that it's a success. Because of course it's a success. Of fucking course it's a success. It's like why Michael Bay is famous. No one knows why, but you know why. And it's insulting to humanity, I think. As much as Michael Bay is an insult
to movie making?
not just to that, but an insult to men's sensibilities. I think shit like this is an insult to women's sensibilities. Like we were talking before, going to the theater. I was really pissed off about the whole, what was it? I mean, the Cosmos in the theater and...
Sex and the City.
Yeah, the Sex and the City movie, how they were serving cosmopolitans to women, like, in the aisles for the premiere. And I'm just like, fuck you. But it was, I don't know if that film was a success, but the Twilight series sure was. The first 50 Shades movie sure was. And it baffles me.
Well,
if you are not a cynic before you are now, just knowing that fact, there's no faith left in humanity to have.
Well, my position is that in a world where a lot of the male-driven fantasies are readily available in mainstream Hollywood, the female-led fantasies, where it doesn't really lie with Harlequin romance novels, there's nothing really beyond that. So to expand on that a little bit is, it's bad that this is the only thing, and it's bad that it's so poorly written and is so transparently, awful.
You're right. Women deserve a better fuck flick.
Women deserve a better fuck flick, and in a dearth of available female-centric fuck flicks for them to own and watch, I can't really come down hard on this movie because of that. It's fulfilling a need, but it's doing it very badly. But because it's the only one doing it, it gets something of a pass.
Yeah, there are plenty of rom-coms that scratch that relationship fantasy-ish, but there are none that scratch the sex angle. Like, there's plenty for dudes.
Oh, plenty.
Again, going back to Kim Basinger.
Last Tango in Paris. There's no, that wasn't Kim Basinger. That was somebody. That was Sharon Stone. That was Sharon Stone.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would have been. My monetization would have been cut off from YouTube in a moment. I don't know how they get that, but they always seem to. But I was thinking of Bo Derek and 10.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like there are, and including one with not Kim Cattrall. Well, even though Kim Cattrall, I'm sure she was in a ton of those films. But point being, we know that women typically don't really fantasize about the sex so much as the relationship and the life surrounding that relationship, and therefore you have the Notebook, and therefore you have, like I said, broad romantic gestures, grand romantic gestures that speak more towards the moment than actual logic. But, by that same token, you can't imagine that women are completely sexless.
No, of course not.
So, they want sex too, but it's not male-driven, even though in some cases it can be. I would imagine that men who were dragged to see this movie were at the very least, satiated with the fact that you got to see Dakota naked alive. Which, you're not going to get that at a fucking Nicholas Sparks movie. You're just not.
Maybe that would explain why Christian had his pants on for most of it.
You can't make...
Just to throw all those poor husbands and boyfriends a bone. You know what? You get to see her ass, but you don't have to see his. The least we can do for you.
The least we can do fucking for you. And women, by extension, don't necessarily need to see Christian naked. They like the idea of Christian more than the actual actor who looks like Christian. I mean, sure, they get to have their jollies in that one scene where you get to see his ass in full... In the first movie, you get to see the neck of his peen.
Ew.
I know.
So newsflash, I can't believe I have to say this, but women typically don't like how penises look. They're weird. Okay? We don't want to see them. We enjoy them, obviously, but they look weird. Without context, it's just a weird thing. Stop showing it to us. Why would that get anyone off? I don't get it.
You don't get it, but I do know some women who do like dick pics.
They are in the minority.
They are the minority.
They are the stark minority.
I mean, dudes, if a woman does ask to see your dick and you want to show it to her, by all means.
If it's online and she asks for your dick and you have not seen her face yet, it's probably not a chick.
Probably not a chick, first and foremost. But if you know it's a girl and you're interested and she's interested to see your dick, go ahead. But don't preempt that step. Please. Let
There's
her...
like 10 steps between hello and peen.
Mm-hmm. There's, at the very least, 15, I find.
There's a lot of addendums and bullet points in those steps as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But here's the thing. Dudes, your dick is your one party piece. I mean, women have the ass, they got the vagine, they got the titties, they got a lot to reveal, and they can play that game for a long time because they have more cards in their hands. But dudes, we got the peen and that's it. So we got to hold on to that secrecy until we have no other options left. It's sort of like the nuclear option in a relationship. It's like, she hasn't seen the dick yet. Maybe if she sees the D, she wants in.
So many things wrong
like
in this conversation.
It's like the Naked Man gambit in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, Jesus. Talk about callback. Oh, wow.
2 out of 3 times. Guaranteed.
We're on a nostalgia trip tonight, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We are on a trip.
Speaking of nostalgia, I was stunned to see that Danny Elfman did the soundtrack for this.
The non-existent soundtrack?
Well, that's... how the fuck did they get Danny Elfman? He deserves better. Although he has had a lot of questionable projects. I wonder what's going on.
Tim Burton? Just look at Tim Burton.
He's done soundtracks for some pretty questionable movies.
Oh, yeah.
None come off the top of my head, but I remember going through
Paycheck is a
IMDb
paycheck.
list.
Paycheck's a paycheck.
He seems like he's quickly becoming the, he's like the Nicolas Cage of movie soundtracks. He'll just do anything as long as it pays.
Yeah.
But the other thing is because Danny Elfman has a very unique sound.
And he's completely bereft in this movie.
I don't think I even heard one single orchestral piece. It was just all licensed music. All of it.
All of it. Including, hilariously of all, Moondance. Van Morrison's Moondance.
During an elevator scene, which was painful. Because I felt, my empathies in that scene was with the other people on the elevator.
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
I felt sorry for them.
Like most of this movie, I was trying to entertain myself with how horrible the movie was. So I was just trying to make her laugh by lip syncing along.
We were riffing pretty hard.
Yeah, well, I was just lip syncing to Moondance, just really, really hamly. It's bad.
See, I thought you were trying to spoof the SNL sketch, the really old one.
No, I'm unaware of that one.
That's all I could think about. I can't hear that song now. Again, talk about old ass callbacks. I'm giving my age in this one. I think it was in the 90s. The cast back then with Chris Farley. I forget her name, but yeah, it's not important. But I can't hear that song now without thinking of Saturday Night Live.
I can't think of that song without thinking of oh god, the werewolf movie, American Werewolf in London.
Oh, at least it's a good movie to associate it with.
I suppose, but its soundtrack was really fucking on the nose, considering that every single song on the soundtrack has Moon in the title. Every single song in the soundtrack has Moon in the title.
Irony only goes so far.
Yeah. I don't know.
Everything in this was played completely straight.
Which helped the unintentional side of its comedy. Made it a more enjoyable sit than the first movie. The first movie was just misery. It had about as much going on as this movie. In fact, I think even less going on. So, if you thought there was no plot in this movie, watch, the original 50 Shades of Grey and realize how plotless and how storyless that fucking movie was.
I've heard the reason behind that is because most of the first book, or probably the entire series, is just her inner monologue.
Oh, yeah.
And that's gone, so there's nothing there. There's nothing here. I cannot overstate just how pointless of a character Anastasia Steele is. Nothing is done of her own accord. Nothing. Everything is handed to her. Even the decisions that you think she's making on her own are definitely influenced. So it's just baffling to me. It really is. I understand the tabula rasa thing, but even with her, I just don't see it. Again, without that inner monologue, as hilarious as it may be, but with the inner goddess bullcrap, I would imagine that's part of what makes these films so boring. It's because when you take away just her chapters and droning on of just inner monologue, there's nothing left. There's nothing.
Yeah. But the few additions that this movie did make towards the basic structure of a 50 Shades story was at the very least to the benefit of said story. I mean, cheesy as fuck soap opera bullshit aside.
So soap opera.
At the very least, it's funny. It's unintentionally funny, but it's funny. And that goes a long way with making a movie more bearable. I know it's pretty early in the year, but I can imagine this movie being on my top 10 worst, but nowhere near the top 5.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah. And the more I think on it, and the more I realize that I was not nearly hard enough on the original 50 Shades of Grey. And I guess I was holding back on it because everyone hated that movie. And, I didn't want to just be, throwing shade on a movie. I didn't want to be throwing shade on this movie just to, join everyone else in. So I thought, reel it in back. Hate the movie, be honest, but don't actually hammer it home how much you do hate it. Now I'm regretting it because...
Really?
Yeah, I'm regretting it because seeing this movie made me realize how bad the first movie was. Because, again, at the very least, things kind of happened in this movie. Nothing fucking happened in the first movie. Nothing fucking happened. And as far as that's concerned, it's not... The only reason why that movie is remotely better than what I consider to be one of the worst, most miserable movies I ever had to sit through, Divergent.
Ouch. Ooh, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the only reason why is that, one, it didn't have Shailene Woodley in it. My female Miles Teller, I hate her face. The woman that you said looked like a mean girl that used to beat you up in high school.
Yes.
Yeah, that little infuriating little monster. No Shailene Woodley, and I hate to be a pig, but Dakota's not too hard on the eyes.
Again, she's a bit too thin for my taste, but she does have a nice ass.
So, again...
But there's nothing up here. There's nothing up here. She's a tiny slip of a thing. But she does have a nice ass. I will give her that. Again, I'd kill for that body. But, again, for a person that multiple rich, powerful men are literally throwing themselves at her feet, again, not to crap on her, but by Hollywood standards, it's a bit hard to swallow, no pun intended.
She's not nearly homely enough to be considered Kavorka woman.
No, she is attractive, but again, just for someone with no personality and no drive or charisma or even just any force of will, she's just as passive as they get. For all these men to just fall at her feet is... Come on, have some agency. Women, just prove me wrong. Okay, it just... With recent events, I've straight up gone from pessimism just into misanthrope territory. Give me some reason to become a cynic again. That is a step up by comparison. This movie has shattered that much faith that I have in the human mind.
You have not been doing this job for nearly as long as I have. So, when you come back from movies like...
Explains a lot in your case, though.
Yeah, after sitting through some of the most, if we're talking from a female perspective, The Single Moms Club is by far and away the most offensive, most utterly pandering bullshit movie I've ever seen trying to cater to a woman's perspective.
I hate that it works. I hate it.
It works, but I guess it works because for lack of a better alternative, for some women feel. But,
I remember, just to kind of go back to one of your anime abandoned things, I believe you were, was it the, what was it? The one with the two detectives.
Oh, Fake.
Yes. You were talking about how women often will read yaoi because they crave that kind of sexual and romantic release, but they don't really have an avenue for it. At least not without getting some severe social repercussions. I would kind of agree with that in a little bit. Again, it goes back to, I wish this wasn't the women's fuck flick. I wish we had something better, but we don't. I didn't even think about that until he brought that up. We really have nothing else. And that depresses me. Come on, Hollywood, you can do better.
I mean, if it just needs to take, if we could find a way to get the word buzz going about some trashy romance novel that just was sex out the wazoo. It made it into an international bestseller. Then we get the movie. We get the movie just by Hollywood saying, "Hey, we got name recognition. We can bank off that."
Twilight ruined everything.
Twilight ruined a lot more than we initially appraised it for. Is it wrong that I kind of miss Twilight in a weird way?
By comparison, I see it.
Not even by comparison, but just by like a community gathering we can have, where we just look at one movie or we look at one property.
Like the common enemy.
Yeah, there's just like a common enemy, and just say like, no, you are bad, go away, go away.
No biscuit.
Exactly. The best part about hating Twilight and especially is that their fans were pissy, but that's all they were. They weren't like...
You just don't understand.
Yeah, they were pissy and they were moaning and they were bitching, but that's all they did. So it just became kind of like harmless fun to just poke fun at Twilight and then see their reaction, like their overly defensive reactions.
They made it so easy. But this, I don't even know what to do with this. People that are legitimate fans of this, I don't even know what to do with you.
Ugh. Maybe...
Are you even human?
Are you
capable of thought?
I think the 50 Shades thing really benefits what I said about like the lack of anything better. I guess like when you can bank off of making a fanfic of Twilight rather, and then turn that into a multimedia franchise itself, that really just speaks to the wanton need for women to have an avenue to express their sexual desires and be able to, and just be able to watch and consume media that knows about it. Because, like Harlequin romance novels are just dime a dozen. Why
can't we, if you're going to have a fuck flick geared to women, why can't it be a good movie? Why can't it be a good movie? Is that really so much to ask?
Well. It's like, yeah, guess what? Women like sex. Not all the time, but they do. I mean...
I ain't touching that one.
I mean, like, they don't like it with me, but I think it's a general idea. I mean, like, it's the old adage, men are like rocket fuel. It doesn't take much to get them going, and by God, do they burn brightly, but not for very long. And women are like diesel fuel.
Oh, speaking of not very long. I swear, in every sex scene in this movie, Anastasia comes within like 5 seconds of penetration. No.
Or as close as they could get to showing her orgasm.
Yeah.
Which, in a perfect world, but no.
No, even then, I like to think that both men and women would like it to last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit longer, but when you read like statistics that say like it takes like 20 minutes for some women, I don't know a guy who can keep an erection for 20 minutes.
I don't know if that includes like, well, okay, no, we're not gonna have this discussion. No.
For another day, for the sequel, we'll save that for the sequel.
And there will be a sequel.
Oh yeah, oh by God, there will be. Actually, before we sign off, I just want to have one last closing thought. I forgot the actor's name who plays Christian, but him and Dakota. By God, do they not have chemistry together at all?
No. Not
in the slightest bit. And they make no secret about it that they don't really like each other off set, but they're doing it for contract.
They don't even like their characters.
Oh, obviously not. And I don't think Dakota's the biggest fan of having to be naked for like half the movie, for every scene.
I mean, she took the role, but I know that it took a long time to cast Christian because nobody with any self-respect would do this. So it's pretty clear. It does come across. Again, I don't know his name either, but it's pretty clear he doesn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. He does not want to be there. And the sad thing is, I hate to say it, but I think Twilight killed a lot of careers. I think this will do the same.
Yeah. Edward, what's his name from Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson, not really doing much.
Done.
Kristen Stewart is doing all rightish.
Yeah, for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but...
It's not because she can act.
Yeah,
because she can't.
It's just that she's cast wrong. She wasn't like Bella Swan. She was like... She works so much better as a goth chick.
And everything I've seen her, it's just the same. It's the same persona. It's just Kristen Stewart. I'm sorry, I can't stand her as an actress.
Some movies use her better than the others. Than others. Oh, God. And the guy who plays Jacob, what's his name? Oh, fucking,
Jose?
No.
Oh, we're talking about Twilight. Yeah, he's haven't seen him at all.
The last thing I remember him being in was The Ridiculous Six, which was that Adam Sandler Netflix movie.
I saw him on a Lifetime original film. I was at my mother's house and I saw him on a Lifetime original film. So
What was like Ty, something like that.
Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner, that was his name. Taylor Lautner.
And that takes space in my brain apparently.
Taylor Lautner. Oh, God.
When one of the positives you can say about your movie is that Twilight was a better film, you done fucked up.
Oh, God, the ending of... Did you ever see Breaking Dawn Part 2?
Of course not.
You should see it, at least for the ending.
Oh, God.
No, really, it's great. Dakota Fanning gets eaten by wolves.
Oh. Okay, then.
One of the vampires punches the earth so hard, he breaks open a chasm and lava spurts out.
Oh. And this is what E.L. James wanted to emulate.
Yeah.
This is what she thought, yeah, this is a good plan.
And the best part is that because vampires can only be killed by having their heads cut off, the whole battle is them ripping each other's heads off. Mortal Kombat style. No. You need to see Breaking Dawn Part 2. You will thank me later.
As long as there's plenty of alcohol involved.
Deal.
All right.
Any other closing thoughts before we sign off?
Fuck this movie.
I think that pretty much sums it up. Till next time.